You know, this time of year marks the busiest season for charity walks. I mean, there are dozens of them planned over the next few weeks. So on today's show, we're talking about a walk that not only brings the community together, but also works to save lives. It's the American Heart Association's Heart Walk. It is a day to celebrate survivors, share stories, and also, yes, raise money for more life-saving CPR training, education, and research.
From WMUR News 9, this is Heart of New Hampshire.
And joining us for a conversation on the couch this morning is Heart Walk Director Jennifer McAninch and local mom Jessica McCabe and her daughter Ellie, who has been on a heart journey since before she was born. You guys, thank you so much for joining us on the couch this morning. So excited to have you and a special guest who we're going to get to a little later, Ellie, okay? But Jennifer, I want to start with you. Can you just talk a little bit about the Heart Walk is coming up? Tell us about the date and how excited you are.
Sure. So the Heart Walk is May 31st at Livingston Park in Manchester in the morning. Very excited. Again, bringing the community together, trying to make sure people understand the importance of recognizing the signs of a heart attack or a stroke. And just, again, trying to bring the community together. We'll have some blood pressure readings and things like that, other things that they can look at as well.
Wonderful. So Jessica, tell us a little bit about Ellie's story. We said, Ellie, you've been on this journey since before you were even here with us. Jessica, can you explain a little bit about Ellie's condition?
Sure. So when I was 20 weeks pregnant with Ellie, they found some abnormalities with her scans. They sent us to the Elliott to have further scans where they diagnosed her with hypoplastic left heart syndrome, which means the left side of her heart didn't develop. There's no known reason. It just is something that kind of happens in that development. And so they referred us to some cardiologists, and they said this is typically treated with a series of 3 surgeries, starting right after birth, generally through ages 3 or 4. We quickly met with cardiologists in Manchester and then in Boston at Boston Children's, and we worked closely with Brigham and Women's, which is where she was delivered. So she had her first surgery just 3 days old. She had 3 more after that, 2 of which were planned, 1 of which wasn't. Her aorta was quite narrow, and so in order for her 4th surgery to be successful, they had to kind of go in and repair her aorta to be wide enough to sustain what they were going to be doing in the 4th surgery. So her last surgery that she had was when she was about 3.5. And ever since then, we, the last several years, we go down and we see them yearly for cardiology exams. And she's been doing great. She loves doing Girls on the Run. She loves being active and playing with her friends. And we're so grateful for organizations like the American Heart Association for allowing all of that to happen.
Yeah. Ellie, I was going to ask you, how do you feel?
Good.
Good. Do you remember any of those surgeries? They were so long ago.
Yeah, my dad kept telling me, like, they took the tubes that were supposed to connect to the left part of my heart, and they put them on the right side so that it could still work properly, and it just...
So you have an extra special heart, different from everyone else's? That is really awesome. What are your favorite things to do? You do Girls on the Run, your mom said? Yeah. What are some of the other things you like to do?
I joined chorus this year, and I really like hiking.
Wonderful. That's so great. And you brought a special guest this morning, and I have to learn more about little Davy the bear. That's his name, right? Davy. And can you tell us about Davy's story?
He was named after one of the doctors, Dr. Quinones, who...
Dr. Brown.
Wait, what? Oh.
Dr. Brown, David Brown.
Oh.
Listen, Ellie, you had a lot of doctors, so...
We do have a stuffed animal named after her surgeon. That's Luis.
Okay.
This is Davy, who's named after her cardiologist, David Brown.
And I see him every year, and sometimes he brings in like a student who's learning how to be a nurse, and I really like when he does that. And I like seeing him every year.
It's so wonderful. Dr. Brown must be honored that you have a bear named after him. That's so great. Jennifer, I want to talk a little bit more about the Heart Association's mission. What is the #1 message that you want to send to folks?
We want everybody to be able to know hands-only CPR so that in the event that they needed to, that they could save a life. Because ultimately we want to create a nation of lifesavers. So.
And is that the message at the Heart Walk? I know we're celebrating survivors, of course, and Ellie's story. Jessica, you told Ellie's story at a Heart Walk not long ago. What was that like for you to be there at the Heart Walk?
That was really important. After Ellie was a Heart Ambassador, we were approached to speak at the Heart Walk, and it kind of took some time to think about what I wanted the message to be and what I wanted to say about her journey, but it was really meaningful that they wanted to include us and kind of put a face to what the American Heart Association does. And it was really special to have her up there with me, and to have my parents there, and yeah, it was really special.
Yeah, I asked Ellie what she remembered, and we talked about just how many people come out to the Heart Walk to support families like yours and the Heart Association, but it's really about bringing people together. Why is that?
It's just important to bring the community together to make sure that everyone knows what the American Heart Association is doing for the community. Again, having the blood pressure readings and having something for survivors, and it just, I think for those people that don't, you know, they're going through that and they don't really have anyone to like meet with or talk with, it's really great to bring everybody together so other survivors can meet other survivors, and you know, people like Ellie as well, the kids.
Yeah, I do just very quickly want to hear just about some of the stats.
Sure. Well, so 9 out of 10 people that go into cardiac arrest at home actually don't survive, which again is the importance of the CPR aspect and just making sure that just chest compressions can save a life.
All right, and you'll be teaching a lot of those things and getting that message out during the walk. Ellie, Jessica, Jennifer, thank you all so much for spending your time and for sharing your story and Davey's story with us this morning, Ellie. You can find more information about the upcoming Heart Walk and how to get involved by going to nh.heartwalk.org.